Hey, so check this out. I was taking the trash out and I found a sketchbook full of some pretty cool drawings. Now you're probably thinking, so what, right? But check this out. When I turn to certain pages of the book, this happens. Pretty sweet, right? Well, from the way the pictures are drawn, I think it belonged to a deist. And the pictures... Hold on. Wait a minute. There's probably a better way to explain this rather than just some random video. Let me just start this whole thing over. Last year, filmmaker Alan T. Sherman came across a tribe in the woods of the Deep South. What was unique about this tribe is that they were great artists. They built art out of found materials and plants. They pretty much used anything they could get their hands on just to create. Unfortunately, no one has seen any of that tribe after that video. Many say that they are extinct. Sherman himself left the research after accusations that he was responsible for their extinction. I decided to do more research on this tribe. For a while now, I've been collecting notes about them. I found out that they were called deists, and their beliefs were that they were descendants of the gods. So I found a sketchbook on the tribe. It plays music on certain pages. I realized that the meaning of the songs seems to coincide with some of the sketches. Seeing as deists were artists themselves, I got a crew together and interviewed other artists. Quite possibly their life as artists can help me fully understand the deist history and what the sketches and songs mean. So I guess the best place to start is with the origin of the artist.
At an early age, I remember playing with blocks a lot, and I played with Legos and that type of stuff, and I would just enjoy building things. And I had this fascination with puzzles and games, and I was always just trying to figure out how I could best put things together to create a story. And so in a lot of ways, that storytelling became a passion of mine, and I just became fixated on the individual pieces. And I realized none of the individual pieces were greater than the actual entirety of the puzzle you're creating.
My creativity comes from people, meeting people, having these interactions, going out in the town. It's just living life, and then a funny idea will pop up and you'll see something crazy, and then creatively I just take a spin on that. It's one of my favorite things in the world to play with gender and screenplays. According to my myopic view of sex and the roles that society has placed on them.
I was very, very interested in the humanities, psychology, sociology, anthropology, things like that. And I think for me, I really always enjoy the process of creating. And coming from a very postmodernist background, and kind of coming from the school of thought and being trained in that, art is about what you want to say, and it needs to have substance to it. It can't just be like, oh, look at the pretty drawing that I did that's going to match my couch. There were always a lot of things, again, from a very young age, that it's just like, I don't like that. That's not okay. I'm going to make a drawing about it. Or I really like this, and other people should know about it, or I want to share this with other people.
It seems like when I'm really happy, I don't paint very much. And I don't draw very much. I don't write very much. But I know this is going to sound very stereotypically emo, but whatever. But if I'm feeling down, depressed, let's say a girl dumps me, I'm all day, But when I'm extremely happy, which is very rare, when I'm extremely happy, I don't do art very much. It kind of sucks to say that depression and isolation inspire you to do art, but with me, it does. When I feel like I don't want to go anywhere, or I feel like I don't want to, socialize with anybody, those are the times where I'm in my house and I'm just writing constantly, or I'm painting, or whatever.
Much the same as what inspired me as a youth, primarily fantasy, science fiction, any and all of those genres, the surreal, nature. Nature is my core, so that's a definite inspiration to everything I do.
My work now is acrylic on wood. Compositions, my compositions are largely in the sky. Since I am fascinated with depth on a two-dimensional surface, I'm pretty much looking to have some type of, I want you to feel atmosphere in the piece?
For my photography, there's the creative photography I do. It's generally last minute stuff, and it's just, I go into my dress-up box and I just have this very vivid imagination, and I love fantastical things. So anything that can kind of add that element of fantasy into the art, I think is really fun, and being able to heighten that imagination and bring that to life. So like woodsy stuff, I'm very hands-on, as you can tell from the apartment. Everything is pretty rustic, and I love just incorporating nature into a lot of things. Very like homely, comforting kind of pieces. And then as far as acting, it's just inspiring, just the human condition. And I am just in love with people and how they interact and what makes people tick, and feeling, just, hearing people's stories. Like, I mean, you write Marta, and there's 10 people right off the bat where you're just like, oh my gosh, I want to know what every one of these stories, because these people look fascinating, and I just want to know like who they are and what their stories are. And in acting, I'm able to bring some of those stories to life, and I think that's really cool to be able to empathize with a lot of other people.
Like I said before, the deists believed they were descendants of the gods. This belief came from energy they would receive whenever they were creating, a concentrated force they naturally housed.
Whenever I am in my creative process, like when I'm really into it, I'm not even really what I would consider myself. It's almost as if I'm overtaken by this external force. It's not external though. I realize that it is internal. It is coming from inside. But this force, in a way, gives me a sense of my true identity.
I don't know, I just feel focused and generally patient with it. It never really comes out how I completely visualize it to, but just the process of doing it just is very freeing, and makes me proud when I'm done, and even though it might not be what I had hoped it would be, it's still something that I do find beautiful and that I do take pride in.
I feel calm when doing art. It just relaxes me. Eases the mind. I just vibe out and work with whatever medium I'm working with and just relax.
A lot of us artists, we call it the zone. You have to know how to get there. It's not just sit in front of it and slap some paint. You got to get in a certain headspace that really teleports you from where you are mentally, spiritually, into another time and space.
There's nothing like it. It truly is a out-of-body experience.
I think art pays homage to the idea that there is this immaterial nature of the universe, and we're all just kind of reaching into this immaterial universe, and that's where I think ideas and thoughts and emotions come from. I don't think that we are the generators of thoughts. I don't think that any of these thoughts are my own. I claim them for myself, but I think that they're, in a way, they're like frequencies, and we are radios, and we kind of pick up on these. We have a way of tapping into these frequencies, and we can even modulate ourselves to pick up different frequencies, which are going to bring about different thoughts, different desires, and we're going to react and behave according to those impulses. We're going to exist and be according to that vibration, that frequency that we're attracting.
I think it's seeing this thing before it's born and then giving life to it. And whatever makes a person tick, whatever they're passionate about, if they like the wild, or if they like clean and modern, or what kind of music even can inspire someone, I think, and whoever they are as a person, I think really drives into the art that they put out there.
I got a cousin who's a poet, and he said something one time, Ramon Jordan. He said something, he said he calls creating art his playing with God time. I was like, yeah, that's what's up. So that just made sense to me. So, I agree with him on that. I think it comes from the cosmos, the creator, the elements. I don't think that you would get inspired or motivated in that way unless it came from something higher than yourself.
In a way, it's kind of like channeling. You're kind of housing a new energy when you go into your creative mode. you're kind of bringing about this universal energy into your body, into your physical vessel.
It's heaven. Even when you have a lot going on and you can't get to it like you want, when you get to it, it's nothing like it. It feels like it's heaven, definitely. It's like you're being transported from this time and space to another time and space where you really have full control over what you're doing.
You know, you're gonna have days where it works really well, everything clicks, and there can be this amazing sense of kismet, you know, where things are going really well, and that gives you the confidence to kind of branch out even further out of your comfort zone, and that can be amazing. You know, that's where I get my greatest kind of aha moments. Just like, I didn't know I could do that, and I didn't know that I was thinking that, but there it is on the page, and oh. And it's those moments that are the scariest, but they're also the most rewarding and the most enlightening.
You know, a lot of times I can look back at a piece, if I've really spent a lot of time on it, we're talking like something that may have taken me months, and you almost wonder, you know, who did this? Was this me? Because, you know, there's certain places in the piece, you're kind of awed by your own ability to manifest on that level. So I say it truly is a deep spiritual experience every time I do, you know, a really heavy piece.
The deists would often help each other whenever there were troubles in their art. They would collaborate with each other, discuss topics and ideas, and give each other critiques.
I went to art school, so I got really comfortable around artists. It was like finding my little niche, yeah.
I think those are the only people I can really talk to and have a conversation with, not because they're deeper or they're so eclectic, but because they're extremely open-minded. And if there is one word that I could use to describe myself, it's open. So, I mean, I have a lot of friends, you know, people who don't really subscribe to the idea of art. But yeah, all my friends are artists or they work with some medium.
A lot of cases, I am extremely comfortable around artists, and that's why I feel like I can communicate to them, and that's why it's conducive, you know, for me to do what I'm doing, because it comes with ease.
You're around kindred spirits. I mean, sometimes it really depends on, you know, where they are mentally, because if you're not in the same headspace, it really doesn't matter, because art is all subjective anyway.
I think it's important, as a matter of fact, for artists to kind of have a tribal link with each other.
There's a certain chemistry when you have the right components and you have the right thoughts and people and desires together, the right intentions, and that is a type of energetic art form, I think, that it's not seen. The product of it is seen, though. The product of it is all around us. I think in a lot of ways that's collaboration.
You know, through being around other artists, you definitely start to broaden not only your own perspectives on how to approach your work and handle, you know, problems that come up while you're working on pieces.
Working with other artists and getting critiqued and being harshly judged and have your work called a piece of crap is, I mean, it's a strong part of the art world. It's nice talking to others, getting their input. I mean, it really helps the creative juices flow and the collaborative effort. I mean, not to sound cliche, it just always makes a project better.
I love it, because a lot of times artists can be very opinionated. I mean, you know, they know where they stand and what they like and what they don't, and when it comes down to it, I think that nobody is ever right, so you can sit there and talk through the way you feel.
You know, I definitely think that critique is the best way to kind of make progress, because I think it's very easy, especially if you're a visual studio artist, it's very easy to work kind of in a vacuum and to work in such a solitary way that you don't have that extra pair of eyes.
Because, I mean, people having their own perceptions is something that defines art and gives it zest. When I meant this, but you picked up this, which is equally awesome. And, you know, it's awesome. It's great. It's a community. Art is a community process, you know?
Art is not really about drawing and painting, it's about ideas. So when you're around like-minded individuals who are artists, and you guys are, you know, just, you know, chopping it up or, you know, having a powwow, you know, the conversations are phenomenal, and you can't beat it. If you just throw a camera on a room full of artists talking, man, you record that and put that in the vault. That's some valuable conversation. It's also definitely going to be enlightening, inspiring, and probably a lot of conversation that takes thought to a whole nother level.
They stood united, creating their own art. The original tribe of deists established these unified traditions. However, as time went by, the deists left the sanctuary of their homes to experience the world and inspire their art. They did learn from experience with this journey, challenging experiences at that.